So probably one of my favorite memories I have with Aubrey was when her, Lee, and I went to the beach for a weekend, and we saw Need to Breathe play a concert right on the water. It was super amazing, and then we camped out, and it was just a really good weekend. Really good music, really good camping, with a sister who has really good taste in music.
I think Aubrey's most embarrassing moment is when she got home from driver's ed and pulled into the driveway with a flat tire because she popped the curb coming into our neighborhood and murdered a bush. The bush still has like a deform.
All right, so you're asking about William Johnson. So let me tell you, when William was in let's start with third grade. Third grade, William decides that he is going to show his abilities. His teacher goes to the door to speak with another teacher. William gets up out of his seat, goes to the front of the class, and proceeds to teach the class. It takes a lot of bravery to get up in front of all your peers and teach the class where the teacher left off. This is some of the crazy things that William has done, and it has made our lives colorful. It's very colorful.
Busy.
Yes, busy is good too.
Most proudest memory I have of William is actually the young man that he's turning into be. It was his idea to be enrolled in the Penn Foster program, and it made us as parents very nervous because we'd have to take him out of the Johnson County public school system and let him have his moment of his thoughts to be able to engage himself and try to finish up school in a different way. So even though we were a little bit nervous about it, as soon as he had an opportunity to do something of his idea, he just ran away with it. He's been able to complete 2.5 years worth of work in about 6 months' time. And yeah, it's just amazing to see how hard he's been working at it, the accomplishments he's been able to make with it.
This is a junior high school memory. He was in junior high school and he was going to, actually no it wasn't, it was 6th grade. I want to say 6th grade. He was going to set a trend. So, a lot of kids find trends to stick to. Well, William is creative enough to come up with his own. What he did was he wore a pair of blue jeans, regular, normal blue jeans, and wore a pair of basketball shorts on top of them. And that was his new trend. Thankfully, that didn't last very long, but it was definitely something to remember. So he's very creative.
One of my most embarrassing moments with Lindsay was when we were going through the Chick-fil-A drive-thru and she passed the window where you order, and she was going to the window where you get your food, and so we had to go around and order the food.
My proudest moment of Lindsay was when she was Catherine in the Reformation of Catherine, and she really nailed the part.
Our proudest moment of Sienna was her baptism. She had just finished reading Augustine's Confessions, and she wrote her own confession. And listening to her pour her heart out was inspiring as a believer, but also just as a father, listening to your daughter express to the Lord what he did in her life and how he converted her. It was very special for me.
I have a lot of fondest memories. One of my fondest memories is we went camping in the High Sierras in California, and there was a freak snowstorm that blew in, and we almost froze to death in a little cabin that the squirrels were ripping apart. And Sienna never once complained, never once asked to go home. She just woke up in the middle of the night and said, "I think Allie's freezing to death." And the next day, she was great, and she went around and covered herself and Allie in mud, and they had the best time, and we were slightly exhausted.
You remember when she came to the front door and the squirrels ran out of the bed? They were inside the bed that night while we were sleeping. They had burrowed inside the bed, and we opened the front door and they ran out of the bed, out of the front door. And I remember her watching them run by. That was great.
I think also we'd be asleep at night when we lived in a trailer and Ben was in seminary, and the mice would trap themselves in between the roof and the top of the trailer somehow, and you'd hear them slide down the side, scratching their nails all the way down, and Sienna would go, well, there goes another one. There's so many fond memories of just our family, and Sienna has always been the rock. Ben and I were discussing something one day in the car, and she leaned forward and she says, you guys sound like Abraham and Sarah. Stop arguing. She's always been our little anchor. So she's rightly named Faith in that way, in her middle name.
It's been encouraging to watch her go from a child to a believer, to going from her parent and transitioning into that mentor phase, and having her keep us accountable to our walk and to even sin she sees in our life. I think that's probably been one of the most exciting things to watch develop in her life.
My absolute favorite memory as we sit outside and look around is Sienna needed two things when she was little, a stick and a dog. And she would walk through the backyard with a stick, and it was all kinds of things, and she just had the best times with just a stick and her best friend with her. So those are just, seeing those little images of her in my mind are just, will always be my favorite memories of her.
Well, congratulations, Noah, on graduating from high school. I know you're excited to be done with school. We are excited for you because of what lies ahead. We just wanted to share just a few things about you that are just some of the many things that we love about you. And I always remember when you were younger how much fun you would find in almost anything. And there's still some of that in you today. I'm glad it's not completely grown out of you, even as you seek to find the seriousness and the true meaning in some things, and wanted to sort of get through all of the other stuff that gets in the way of that.
One of the things I've always appreciated about you, Noah, is your ability to think outside the box, to be able to take whatever material, whether it's wood or scrap metal or whatever, and create something that actually works. We have so many inventions that I almost wish we had had this space to keep, of whether it was BB shooters or mini marshmallow shooters, but there was never a broken appliance that was safe in the house. It never made it to a landfill, because Noah would sneak it into his room and take it apart, and we would find its parts, its motor on one invention and the shell on another invention, and he was very proud of that, and we were quite impressed. And that even extended into the culinary field, where a lot of your church family know about your culinary successes with 2 different pretty big baking contests where you got first place and was on TV, a baking show. It was the highlight of your childhood, and you still enjoy some of that experimentation. And I look forward to seeing how God can take that thinking outside of the box and put it into how you can help build his kingdom in the future.
And that leads us to probably what we are most proud of when we look back at your life, especially the last 2 years. And that's how you have grown spiritually. Mm-hmm. And your desire to be in the Word, to pray for people and things. And you don't make a big deal about it. You like to keep that to yourself, but we can see that those kinds of things are happening. Even to the point that you have actually been a model and an example to me, who's supposed to be the spiritual leader of the family, that there have been times where I'm like, okay, I've got to step up my game here because of what my son is becoming. And so I just really, really want to personally thank you for that, and I just can't wait to see how God's going to use you in the future.
My proudest moment of Alexis is when she decided to do fine arts competition at Wake Christian. And she had only been playing the marimba for a few months and decided to compete, and she chose a very hard piece. So we got her private lessons, and she practiced very hard and diligently, and she competed and she nailed it. She got perfect scores from the judges, and I was so proud of her when I watched her perform. It was just like my proudest moment.
The funniest moment that I can remember
that had to do with Alexis was when these two were young and they got into the hall closet and poured laundry detergent all over the carpet and started playing slip and slide. And Chris and I walked in and they were just giggling and having a time of their life, but in my mind I was screaming.
Hello, I'm Preston Ray, and my daughter is Marissa Ray, better known as Rissy Riss. Riss is the youngest of 4 girls, and she is now a graduate of the 2018 class at Southside Christian School, and we're so very proud of her. She started in the 1st grade with Miss Davis, and she's continued on through. Her natural habitat, however, is laying in bed and yelling, "Dad! Dad!" And I'll open the door and she say, "Can you give me a popsicle?" She has surprised me when she was in high school and signed up for the basketball team. She had never touched a basketball in her life. And I was really surprised, and I warned Coach Chad Jewett what he was getting into. But she surprised us all. She did very well. I remember her coming home from after the first game saying, I just wanted to play for fun. And we're like, well, this is competition. It's a little different. And she rose to the occasion and did real well. She ended up playing basketball 4 years, I think. This year, as a senior, one of the coaches from another team came up after the game and sought me out in the bleachers and said, she showed me something this game. And what he meant was that he had seen the fruit of self-control in the way she played. Her players were, I guess, purposefully bruising up on her, and she took it in such a way that it made an impression on him. And that was probably a very proud moment for me, for him to recognize that and to come up and speak to me like that. Marissa has come a long way. She, throughout high school, gets herself up, gets herself dressed, gets there on time. If she was late, it was probably my fault. She does all her work on her own, and she is responsible. And I'm just so thankful for Southside Christian School and the Christian education that she was able to get. I think it has taught her much more than just science, math, and English. I can see through what this coach said and through what she has become as a beautiful young lady inside and out. I see Christ in her. I see her faith, and letting her faith show and lead her in her decisions, I think, is the most wonderful and proud accomplishment anybody can have toward their daughter or son. And I'm just so thankful for Southside. I'm really appreciative, and I thank the Lord for giving her the faith, and I know that this faith that she has lived out will continue to result in many more accomplishments for her. Love you, Riz.
Hello, Aubrey. Gosh, I've been putting this off too long. Things have been very busy, but I just didn't really know what to say. So here we are. I'm so very proud of you. I'm proud of your academics. I'm proud of your ability on the soccer field, but mostly I'm very proud of who you are as a person, and so very thankful for you. I know it hasn't been easy being raised in a house full of boys, but you've rocked it, and I'm just prayerful that you will continue to do your best with everything that God puts in front of you, and we look forward to seeing what that is. And just keep laughing with people, with yourself, at yourself. It's important. Keep laughing. Love you.
One of my proudest moments of Chris is when I found out that he actually received his Eagle. It was a month after his birthday, and you're supposed to have all that done before your 18th birthday, and he pretty much was stepping on a line there. But he got it, so I'm proud of him for that.
One of my favorite memories is a couple years ago. We went to the beach for my cousin's wedding, and he actually did pictures for me because I needed new pictures. And so he did like a mini photo shoot. So we were at a friend's birthday party, and it was at the skating ring. And they were doing the races, and we were talking about who was gonna, the boys were racing at the time, and me and my friend's sister were talking about who was gonna win. And she's like, oh yeah, Chris will win, Chris will win. I looked at her, I said, no, Chris is not gonna win. He's gonna be in the lead for the first 2 laps, and then he's gonna wipe out, and he's going to lose and not get first place. And that's exactly what happened, and it was kind of the funniest thing ever, and I totally got a video of it. Chris, I'm so proud of you. Congratulations on your graduation and your eagle. All I want to say is keep up the good work, but do it a little faster.
Alright, I'm most proud of my sister for her strong belief in Christ and never letting that go.
Probably the most embarrassing thing was once we were going to a play or something, and we were getting there, and she thought it started at like 6 or something. We got there at 7 o'clock, and we saw some of our friends leaving. We were like, why are you leaving? He said, it's over. And we're like, oh. And then we went in there, and we just told everybody, you did a really good job.
Our favorite memory, one of our favorite memories of Lindsay, is her friend Bob. Bob, not Bob the Builder, but Bob the Builder video case. This was Lindsay's friend for many years, and she had other friends too, like Hippo and Bear, but she would have tea parties, and all of the things would have bibs. They always had the same color bib, and she was very organized with that. And this was her good friend Bob. Well, I remember getting a stuffed Bob one time, and she had no interest in Bob the Builder, the stuffed Bob, but she wanted her case. You know, that's her friend Bob.
And we are just very proud of Lindsay and all that she's accomplished during high school, and to have seen the growth that she's had in the last few years in her faith and just as a person growing into a young adult. So we're very proud of her, and we know that she is going to do very well at UNCW. We're very excited for her, and we just love her a lot.
Love you,
Love
Lindsay.
you, Lindsay.